Hello everyone, welcome to Laravel. My name is William Juma. In this video episode, I want us to talk about how to implement passwordless authentication in a Laravel application. In this case, we are going to use Laravel Breeze as the starter kit. You can be able to use Jetstream and customize, and you can also be able to come up with your own custom authentication and be able to implement because the ideas are just the same. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to install Laravel Breeze by running the command composer require Laravel /breeze. After that, we will run the command php artisan breeze install. We are getting an error about the height of our terminal, so I want to just move it up a bit and run the command again. We will choose livewire functional, yes for the dark mode, paste for testing. Breeze is fully installed. We will run php artisan serve to run our development server and visit localhost 8000 to see our application. So in the login form, we have the password field. I would like us to remove it. So we will go to resources, views, livewire, and after that go to a directory called pages, and then we will open the login form and remove this password field. We can also remove remember me, and we can also remove the forgot password field because it serves no purpose. I also want us to include the validation. In this case, once the user logs in, we can, by clicking the email, we can be able to just show that an email has been sent to their address. And what I'm going to do, I'm going to just use a component that we have here, this component that we call auth session status. I think we have it here. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to access it by saying x auth -session -status. I hope I've typed it in right correctly. And what I need to pass here is a session message for maybe a successful login. So here we can say status, because that is what is required when you open it. What you're supposed to pass in here is a prop that is called a status. And so that is what I'm doing here. So we have status, and here I want it to be session success. So we will have a status called session success, and I want us to just pass it in and display it on our form. Of course, we are going to do the same in our register method. So I will copy this session of ours, the session alert, and we will go to our register.blade just down here. And here I want us to delete the password and confirm password fields. I think already registered is no issue because it will send us to the login method. That one is no issue. I think those ones are okay. And then we can be able to pass in the session success again. And then after that, I would like to go ahead and continue with what we have. We will pass in our flash messaging once we have been able to send to in this case, register the user details in the database and then send the email for login. So that is what we will do here. But I want to first of all focus on login.blade, and then we continue, and then we will move to other things. One more thing that I would like to do as early as now is to create a route. I want us to go to web.php, and inside here, I want us to have a route that I'm going to call passwordless. So route get, and this route, I want us to call it passwordless. And then I will also have the email, since we will be passing the email in that URL that we are going to create. After that, we will have a function, and inside here we can above here pass in the request and we just say use illuminate HTTP request. And then inside this function, we can pass in request. And then we can also have the email, so string email, that which we'll be passing here. And to be okay with everything, I would like us to have this as a named route. So inside here is where we process our request. But I want it to be a named route, so we are going to have name. I'll just call it passwordless. Passwordless, like that. And I think the typing is the same. It's not the same. So let me passwordless. Yes, passwordless. Yes, like that. So I think that one is okay. Inside here is where we will be processing and authenticating our user and logging them in. You can actually be able to pass this to a controller method and you will still be able to log in the user. But in this case, I will just have the user logged in here. So now what I want us to do is to go back to our login.blade. And above here, we are logging in our user. So this one for session regenerate, I do not want it. And also redirecting the user, we do not need it. What we need is to just have a flash message. Let me just put it here. Session, we are going to flash. And then the session is a success key. And here we can say success. Please check your email for the login link. And so this flash message is what we will actually be displaying below here. So as you can see below here, we have session flash or session status, and we are passing it. So that is what we'll be doing. But this is after authenticating the user. So after logging in this user. And so let us go to this method that authenticates. And as you can see above here, we have the login form class, because we are referring to form here and we are authenticating. So we have a class that is called the login form, and that class is found inside app, livewire, and then forms. And so here we have several things. We have the password and we have the remember token. All this I do not need because we only be provided for an email by the user. And then down here, I want us to just use whatever it is that we have here, some of the things that we have here. So I want us to have an if function, and we will be checking the negative if the user does not exist in the database. So user where email is the same as this email. That is how we refer to properties in Livewire. So we have the email property here. So referring to it, we refer to it like this, and that will be what, so this email like that. So that is what will access the email value. And then after that, inside here, we can put the code to execute. So we are checking if the user email does not exist in our database. And if that is the case, we can be able to have whatever it is that we have here. So we will not send a link to this specific user. So what I'm going to have is just that. So I will throw the error for the email and say that the credentials don't match our records. I will remove the previous function that we have, the if function. And then now, if a user passes this check and they reach here, then it means we have been able to find their email in the database. So if we have their email in the database, then we can go ahead and log in this user, or in this case, not login per se, but send the login link for this specific user. And so what we are going to do, we are going to generate the link. So I'm going to have a variable called URL, and we are going to say send a signed link. A signed link cannot be modified, and it will just be used for that specific user. And in this case, we are sending it to their email, so we can have things being a little bit secure by doing that. So here we are going to have URL, the URL facade, and then we can be able to mention the type of URL that we want is a temporary signed route. And inside here, we can be able to pass in several things. The first thing that we need to pass is the expiry of this URL, and we can also pass in the user email, those two things. But we have to mention the route. So remember, we had a named route called passwordless, and now we can be able to mention other things. We can mention the time of expiry of this link. So if we send a link to the user, after how long, when they click on the link, should we invalidate it? So that is what we are asking ourselves. So in this case, I want to set 30 minutes. So if you find that is too much time, you can be able to edit accordingly. So you have now add minutes. Yes, I've typed correctly, and then we can just have 30 minutes. After that, then we can go ahead and pass in any other data that we want to pass in this signed URL, and we can pass in very many things if you want. If you are doing a signed URL, you can pass in the username, the email, and every other thing. But in this case, we are only passing in the email address. So, and remember the email address, we are accessing it in this way, this email, and this is the email that the user has just typed in. So after that, we are good. We have the URL. After doing this, then the next thing that we need to do is to send an email to this specific user. And so what I want us to do is to generate a mailable class, and then we can be able to go ahead and send the email. And so to create Markdown mailables, what we are going to do is to run the command. I will open a new terminal here. We are going to run the command php make mail, and then the name of our mailing class. In this case, I would like to call it login mail. And I also want us to also include the Markdown. So what we are going to do, you have -- markdown, and then is equals to, we can talk about the directory. So we can say it's inside maybe a directory called emails, and then the name of our Markdown, I also want us to call it login mail, like that. We are going to hit enter. I have mistyped something, so I will do it again and just change it here. So it is supposed to be php rt_sun, and that command will create for us whatever it is that we need. So we have two files. We have app mail, and inside here we have login mail. When we scroll downwards to go to resources, we also have a directory called emails, and inside here we have login mail.bled. So those two files will assist us to send this email. And so what I'm going to do above here is to include our mailing class. So in this case, we will say use app mail login mail, like that. We will also require to use user. So in this case, as you can see below here, we are checking the user table using the user model. So we can say use app models user, should be capitalized, the first letter, user, like that. And after that, we need also to import the URL facade. So use illuminate support facades URL, should be capital all through URL, like that. And the reason why we are having the URL facade is because we are using it here to generate our URL. And just to check that everything is working fine and we are able to generate a URL, I want us to check for a user email here. So maybe we can do dd URL, but in this case we need to have a user in our database. So what I'm going to do is also to do some modification on our database. So I open database and then migrations, users. And here what I need to do is to remove the password field. And even remember token, we do not need it now. And we will have it like that. So we just have users and we have name and email only. Email verified can stay because we might want to check if the email that we're being given is the correct email or not. So after that, I would like to run the migration afresh. So we can say PHP artisan migrate fresh, and that you run our migration again and remove the password field. I would like us to check if this URL is able to be shown by checking it like this. And so what I'm going to do, I want us to check for this, but by the way, I have an error here. So we need to say user exists like that, because otherwise it will not work for us. So let us go ahead and see if we can be able to check for a user existence. So if I'm to refresh and we check maybe that email and try to log in, now you can see credentials not match our records because it is checking in the database and it's not finding a user who has that email. So this one is working fine. I would like us to register a user using Tinker and then see if now we can be able to get the URL. So I'm going to run the command php artisan Tinker, and we are going to have user to be given by new app models user name to be given by maybe James, and then user email to be given by j@example.com, then user save. And you can see it's saving and we're not providing the password. Is because we actually removed the password field. So basically that is okay. We have a user in the database. I would like us to now try and check using that user email. So j@example.com and click login. Now you can see we are having the URL. In this case, the temporary signed route, or in this case, link. So after doing that, we need to include the login mail here and send that email. So what I want us to do is to now pass in the URL and send it. So I want us to have a variable called data. And inside here, I want us to have maybe the subject of the email. And we can say login URL. So that will be what will be provided in the subject. And then the message. So in this case, this is sort of like the body of the email. We're just going to make it simple. Please click on the link button below to login. And then after that, we are going to have our URL, and it's going to be the URL that we have created above. So basically that will be our data property. And then now we can go ahead and send our email. So we are going to have mail to, and we are sending the mail to the email. So this email, so send new login mail. Remember the class we have created, and inside here we can pass in our data. Of course, there is one more thing that we have not been able to import here, which is the mail facade. So what I'm going to do, I'll just copy the URL facade and call it mail. And that is now okay. So I would like us to go to our login mail and see how we can be able to access the value. So what I'm going to do here, I'm going to just say public, and then we will pass in our data property. And then I want us to just dump it here. Now, after doing that, I would like to attempt and use again the email that we have, j@example.com. And you can see we have everything that we need, the subject, the message, and every other thing. And this one is being dumped from this place. So I will comment it out and then go ahead and pass in our subject. And so for the subject, we are going to access the data property by saying this data, and then we check the subject. And then after that, we need to also pass in the URL inside our content. So in this case, we can have markdown, emails, login mail, and here we can say with, and we can have an array of our URL. So we can say URL, and we can access it in a similar way in which we accessed the subject. So in this case, we can say this data, and inside here we can pass in the URL. So after doing that, I think we are set because we are not sending any attachments in our email. I want us to go to the mailing class, to the mailing view, in this case the markdown for our email. And so that is found inside resources views. Then we have a directory called emails. So this one here. And what we are going to do is to pass in our message, or in this case, our subject, maybe, sort of like a heading. If you had a heading, you could be able to pass it in here. So what I'm going to pass in is data, and we are going to say subject. And then we also need to pass in the body. And so the body will be passed in a similar way. I need to use curly braces like that, and on this other side. And then also here we have data message. And then for the URL, we're just going to pass in the URL here. So after doing that, we are okay. We can pass in our app name here. So the name that you have in your ENV for your application. So if you have changed it and customized it, that is the name that you go in this email. And basically that is that. So the last thing is just to show you what we have in the ENV for sending the emails. And in this case, we are using the default, which is log. So to just put it in the Laravel logs. So basically that is what we have it. But if you want to use MailPit or MailTrap, you can be able to put your credentials here. If you are doing it in production, you will put the credentials for your email server in this place, and then you'll be able to send the email to that specific required person. So basically that is that. And now I want us to try and see if we can actually be able to send this login email. So I want us to just type it in here, j@example.com, because that is the email that is existing in our database, and we are getting nothing. It's taking a while, it seems. I want us to go to our, in this case, storage, and then logs, and then Laravel log. And down here already we have our link in a button. So basically we already have our link, and that is okay. I want us to just ensure that we are returning some information back to our user. I do not know why it's not working. So we are going to go back to our login.blade. And inside here, what we did, I mistyped this success. So it's supposed to be success like that, because that is what we are showing below here. Yes, that was the problem. So if I'm to try again, I will put our email j@example.com, the one that we are using, and click login. And definitely you can see success. Please check your email for the login link. So meaning the email has been sent. And that one is good enough. I also want us to do some modifications inside the register method. So for the register method, we will need to again flash this message. So I'll just copy it and go to register.blade. And so inside here also, we do not need to log in our user because we do not even have any user details. So all those I'm going to comment out. What we need is, after registering our user and triggering an event whereby we have created a new user, because the validations are being just done here. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to comment out the password validation, and also above here where we have the state, I will remove password and remove this one. You can just delete them, by the way, because we just need name and email like that. Then after that, after successful registration of a member, you can be able to just have this flash message. But on top of that, we still need to send the login email. So what I'm going to do, I will copy some of the things that we have above in our login form. So above here where we have the login form, there are things that we did have above here. We had the mail, we had the user, and every other thing. So I will copy everything here and come and paste it here. So inside our register.blade, such that we also be in a position to also send that email. But the user model is being referred to already. So I will remove that. We'll just have it like this. And then the way still we were able to create the route and send is the same way I want us to do it. So you go back to, again, our login form, and down here scroll all the way and copy what we have here. So I will copy the URL, and I will copy the data, and then we will copy all that. So again, after copying that, I will bring everything to the register.blade method in this case. So after that, now that is when we will do the flash messaging after sending the email like that. So basically this is what we have. And for the emails, you can decide whether you want to do queuing or you just want the emails to be sent like that. But of course, if you are just sending without queuing them, you will have issues of a little bit of lag in your application, because sending of emails takes a little bit of time. For you to be able to queue the emails, you can just come to this place and add here implements should queue. So this that we are having here, you can just copy and then say implements should queue like that. And then of course you have to run your queue worker. So basically that is that. I'm not going to go into that. So that is that. I would like to try the register method and see if everything is working out perfectly. So I want to click back. And now for the register method, I need to use a new user. So here I will say the name is William, and then we will have William at example.com, and click on register. If we have any errors, we will see. Undefined array key password. So we need to just delete it completely because it is being required of us. So let me just scroll back to the register.blade method, and I would like to, yes, there's this one here. We have commented it out, but still we did leave it here. So we will remove also this one, and even the others, let me just delete them. And also above here, we will delete the password and password confirmation such that we do not receive any issues. So again, I want us to refresh again and try. So here we are going to have William, and we are going to have William at example.com, and click register. And now you can see success. Please check your email for the login link. And if we have already registered, if we click here, it will just take us to login, and that one is okay. So basically that is that. I want us now to work on how to log in this user. And so let us go to our web.php. Inside this method that we have here, which I wanted us to use it to just log in the user instead of maybe using the controller method. But of course, it's better to use the controller method. You reduce the bulk of the code on this routing file. But I want us to just check if the request has a valid signature. So I will check the negative. So we can check request, and we can check has valid signature. And if that check fails, then we can be able to throw an exception. So you just abort and say unauthorized. And then after that, we can go ahead and fetch the email, which is this one here, and then authenticate our user. So I'm going to just get the user whose email is passed here. So we can say user. We can save it in a user variable. So user is equals to user model, where email is the same as this email that we have here, this one that is being passed in the route, and we can just get only one record. So first, and then we can go ahead and log in this user. So you say auth login user, like that. And in this case, we would have logged in the user, and then we can go ahead and redirect them. So you say request redirect, and we are redirecting to the dashboard. So request redirect intended, we are passing in the dashboard link. So that is where we are going to redirect. But of course, after logging in the user, it's also good practice to regenerate the session. So we can say request session regenerate, like that. And so basically this will be, we make it possible for us to log in a user. And so I want us to try and see if we can be able to log in a user, the ones that we have. So I want us to send an email, j@example.com, and click on login. And so the email has been sent. What we need to do is to go to our storage. So storage logs and Laravel log. Now, because I've sent many of these things, I do not know which is which. I do not know if this is this first one or the others. So let me try and log in the last one, maybe. Yes, the one that is below, the one that is below most. So I will click on this one, press Control and click on the link, and you can see it saying unauthorized, so meaning it's not the one. So what I need to do is to probably delete. And the reason why it's saying it's not the one, probably it is expired. So let me delete some of the email that you're having here, and then try to send a new login link. And I believe it has been sent and it's here. So what we are going to do is to click on the link and see what happens. So what I'm going to do is to click to follow the link, and it says class user not found. Yes, in our route we need to import the user model above here. So use app models user, and then what I need to do is to try the link again, and it says I have typed my own things severally. So below here again I have another typo. Today is my good day. How you save? So we have first, because I had typed my own things. So again, try to log in, and it says redirect does not exist. Let me just check. Yes, we are supposed to return redirect, not request redirect. It's my own things. That is very lovely. I'm losing footing on every front. So return, and I want us to try again and see if we can be able to log in. Now you can see we are logged in. And the good thing with these signed routes is that if somebody tries to modify the route, then still they will have issues. It will not be accepted. They will receive the 4 or 1. I want us to try with William at example.com and see if we can be able to log in. So log in. So the email has been sent. So still I will check inside Laravel logs, and I want to maybe check the one that is below. I believe it should be the one. I don't know. User not found. I think we need to scroll a little bit more. Yes, the one that has William at example.com. When we when we click on the link, again, you can see we are logged in. So basically, that is how you can be able to implement this. Even if we want to register new users, so let us try that. And we can say Wycliffe, and we say Wycliffe at example.com. If we attempt to register this user, now you can see the user is registered, and we expect if we are to go to our Laravel logs, we will get a log that belongs to somebody by the name Wycliffe. So let me just scroll down a little bit more and a little bit more. We have Wycliffe at example.com, and if we are to click it to follow the link, still you can see Wycliffe is logged in. So both register and the login methods are working perfectly, and that is how you can be able to implement passwordless authentication just using the user email only in a Laravel application. If you like this video, give us a thumbs up. If you are new to this channel, please consider giving us a subscription. And if you have a question, a query, a compliment, a concern, you can be able to share in the comment section below. Thank you very much.